T-Bird fans, we welcome you to a brand new edition of T-Bird Talk. I'm Cloud County Community College Sports Information Director, Toby Nosker. On this week's edition of T-Bird Talk, we'll have the opportunity to visit with Cloud County Community College Director of Cross Country and Track and Field, Drew Mahin, and we'll talk with new Assistant Cloud County Community College Cross Country and Track and Field Coach, Rylan Cheney. The Cloud County Community College men's and women's cross-country teams are set to open their 2025 seasons this Saturday as they will compete at the 77th Annual JK Gold Classic in Wichita, Kansas. The T-Birds will race at Clapp Cross Country Course at L.W. Clapp Park in Wichita for the second consecutive season. The race is hosted by Wichita State University. The race is scheduled for an 8 a.m. start for the men's 6K and an 8:30 a.m. start for the women's 5K. Live results will be provided by Mile Split, and we'll also be sharing race results up at our athletic website at cloudtbirds.com, or you can follow our Cloud County Athletic Department social media channels. Just search and like Cloud County Athletics on Facebook and Instagram, or CCCC Sports on X. Up next, we'll preview the start to the 2025 year for the Cloud County Community College men's and women's cross-country teams as we chat with Drew Mahin and Rylan Cheney. This is T-Bird Talk.
Are you a Kansas or Nebraska high school senior who's thinking about your next step after high school? If so, you qualify for Cloud County Community College's $500 Early Bird Scholarship. All you have to do is visit campus before December 19th and have a GPA of 3.0 or higher, and you get a $500 scholarship guaranteed. So come visit Cloud and see why our students are Cloud proud. On your visit, you'll see our campus, meet with an academic advisor, and get a chance to have all your questions answered. Set up your campus visit today by giving us a call at 785-243-1435 extension 212 or visiting us online at cloud.edu/admissions.
This week on T-Bird Talk, an opportunity to talk Cloud County Community College men's and women's cross country. The T-Birds set to get the 2025 season underway as they compete this weekend at the 77th Annual JK Gold Classic, which will take place at Clapp Cross Country Course in Wichita, hosted by Wichita State University. The men's race will get underway at 8 a.m., followed by the women's collegiate race at 8:30 a.m. Joining us this week on T-Bird Talk, we have Cloud County Community College Director of Cross Country and Track and Field, Drew Mahin, and also with us, a new Assistant Cross Country and Track and Field Coach, Rylan Cheney. And I want to thank you both so much for taking time to join us. And I guess before we jump into the 2025 season itself, Drew, maybe our starting point is to talk about some coaching shakeups and coaching changes. And we'll talk about for each of you what that means. But I guess to start, Drew, obviously recently we had the retirement of a long-time legendary track and field coach at Cloud County, Harry Kitchener, coached here for 48 years, somebody that I know you've had an opportunity to work with throughout your tenure now at Cloud County Community College. Talk a little bit about the legacy that Coach Kitchener leaves behind. We had an awesome retirement reception with so many past alumni and runners and friends of the cross-country and track and field programs in attendance. And again, I know you're grateful for the opportunity, the moments that you were able to spend learning alongside him, as well as Hall of Fame Coach Ted Schmitz.
Yeah, I think that being a steward of a program kind of embodies making it bigger than yourself and involving so many different other people of support systems, whether it's the school, faculty, staff, administration, alumni, the board of trustees, the community. We're really proud to be able to represent Cloud on a weekly basis, a semester basis, each season that we go through, even the summertime. To be able to represent so many people that had great experiences here is important, but also learning from all the years past. I think there's so many things that a young coach could take for granted in a program that seemed to be moving seamlessly in some areas, but other areas we wanted to have some growth. And it was nice to be able to have not only Coach Schmitz, but also Coach Kitchener. Every step of the way I could bombard them with questions, or why is it this way? Why is it this way? How do we work within these constraints of scholarships and weather and facilities and travel and all the different things we never we're not doing it alone. I think you can't be the smartest person in the room if you want to succeed in any realm of coaching. You need to rely on people as a new role that I'll be taking on and new decision-making and stress. I've got to enable my assistants and everybody else to be bigger and grow through all these movements as well, whether it's making decisions in recruiting, whether it's equipment, whether it's taking on daily duties. There's never enough hours in the day, and you need to be able to disconnect yourself from certain duties and take on bigger roles to grow in other areas as well. I think connecting with all those alumni that Kitchener helped build is the number one priority, I think, in terms of being that spokesperson for our program, but it's also being consistent. Every day trying to have the same messages to the student athletes from our coaching staff to the event groups to the sophomore leadership to the freshmen, and even within the community itself, having the same messages that people matter more than points, that we want to see growth and people grow in all areas of their life when they're here, and we want them to leave with great experiences. Happy cows make good milk. But within a program that deals with all different athletes and all different walks of life and all different diverse event groups, we have to have some commonalities that make us Cloud proud. And I think that's something that Coach Kitchener has really expressed, that bigger is not always better, and that you can be really proud of the work we do here with the people that we have, and we're really lucky to have these opportunities. So it's been an awesome ride. I think the next steps forward will feel like less change, honestly, than it was me just getting started as a young person, 12, 13 years ago. That massive change in the first 3 years was a big growth experience, and I hope to grow more, but I hope to grow more in leadership. I hope to grow more in empowering other people and less about me and more about we. If we can make that kind of work, I think everybody can benefit from it.
Let's talk about the change for you. You previously were serving as the head men's and women's cross country coach and an assistant track and field coach. You get promoted then and take over the women's side as Ted Schmitz becomes the assistant track and field coach. So you've seen a change there. Yep. And now with the retirement of Coach Kitchener, now you're stepping into this role as director of cross country and track and field. Does much change? What does this look like for you now?
Well, I think even when the women's head track coach position changed, I still had Coach Schmitz there with me to have that dialogue back and forth about major decisions, whether it was event groups, whether it was training, whether it was recruiting and scholarships. It was never without a committee of an idea or committee of intelligence to go off of and to having a history behind all those decisions. I think I'm going to try to not be a micromanager. There's people that will tell you exactly how they want a job done, and that's the only way to do it. But I think every assistant needs to find their own path and their own voice and their own way of doing things, giving them options and making them make decisions. Same thing we do with student athletes on their day-to-day basis. You chose this class schedule. How does this fit within sleep? How does this fit within training? How does this fit within your life? Can you balance all these things? We can give best advice, but it has to be an ownership from the student athlete perspective. It has to be ownership from the assistant coaches. If anything, I want to be a resource for them, and Coach Schmitz has preached this constantly. He wants to be a valuable piece of this team, but he doesn't want to control the team. He wants to be a part of something bigger, and I think I've learned a lot of lessons from his leadership in that women's transition. You're never without advice, whether it's from our athletic department and Matt Bouchard, whether it's from administrators here at the college, whether it's from faculty and staff. I think it's so important that we lean on other people to be successful here. I can't be the only person making all these decisions. So we want to empower Coach Rylan, Coach Erica. We want to empower Coach Schmitz to even grow in different areas as much as we can, but also realize you're never alone. And if you get into a tight spot, you can always lean on somebody else when you have a tight situation or a difficult situation to go through. So
fortunate to have Coach Schmitz remaining on board as an assistant coach. Erica Brand, as you mentioned, an assistant track and field coach, throws coach for the Cloud County Community College track team. And then this summer, the addition of a new assistant coach with Rylan Cheney. And we'll talk to Rylan here in just a second. But tell me a little bit about adding an assistant coach. What were you looking for, and what was it that made Rylan, a T-Bird alum, stand out to you?
Well, and what I appreciate about Rylan is that it has been about the relationships first, whether he was an athlete here or he left and he was an alumni. And he always had great relationships with our current kids that he never even ran with, but somehow he got connected with our team. The people here matter way more than the jerseys and the equipment and the facilities that we deal with. So when we have a priority of people over performances, we can grow those coaches into new roles that they can challenge themselves with and develop their ideas and methodologies behind leading young people. with his transition now as an assistant coach, I think he gets behind the scenes look at what stresses coaches deal with that athletes maybe have never experienced, whether it's the question of time commitments by student athletes, whether it's the leadership that you get to display in times of need, whether it's academic issues, maybe it's behavioral issues, dorm issues. There's a lot more adulting that goes on behind the scenes with coaches and athletes than most people realize. Maybe it's the time constraints. Getting up at 5:30 in the morning, always being early to everything, makes you have to be accountable 8 hours before things happen, a week before things happen. You have to plan so far in advance to be an effective coach, because otherwise you're just scrambling. You're just dealing with one problem after another and not really solving anything if you don't plan ahead. Rylan's been more than willing to jump on any task when we ask him to. He's never the person that's trying to get out of any duty. If anything, we probably can get a better list for him and more descriptions and keep adding more and more. So that's been a really nice change to have somebody that I haven't had an assistant for cross country yet in my time here. So it's like I have to think in a new way of how to make his day valuable as well and think ahead, whether it's going to be in recruiting, whether it's taking over a workout. If I've got to take over a track and field team meeting or a practice, it's going to be a huge relief not to have to worry, what are they doing? Are they okay? Are the kids able to conduct themselves in a way that's positive that day? Coach has been a really stable point in helping with practices so far, just in the office work, willing to share duties and willing to learn and grow. And we got a long ways to go as far as how do we put him in the best position to grow quickly and be effective for himself too. So not only does it put pressure on us as a coaching staff, it puts pressure on him to find out where is his best value on a day-to-day basis, a practice basis, a meet basis. We're kind of learning and growing together, and it's exciting. So
talking with Drew Mahin, again, Director of Cross Country and Track and Field at Cloud County Community College, and also with us is new Assistant Cross Country and Track and Field Coach Rylan Cheney. Rylan, how excited are you to be back at Cloud?
Oh, I'm super excited. I really loved this place when I was here as a student athlete. Met so many great people. I like Coach Drew said, I still knew people that I didn't even run with on the team, but I always stayed in contact with the program and the community, and so I was just really excited to be back here.
So for those that don't know your background, where are you originally from?
So I grew up in the Sandhills of Nebraska in a little tiny town called Cody, Nebraska. It's clear up by Valentine, about 6 miles from the South Dakota border. But then going into my junior year, my family made a little bit of a change. We moved to Shelton, Nebraska, so in the Tri-Cities area, right in between Kearney and Grand Island, and then that's where I finished my high school career, and then ended up here.
Track, cross country, running, distance running, has that long been a part of your life?
Yep. So my parents were both high school coaches, and so I went to a lot of cross country and track meets growing up as a young kid, and so I've always been told I'd be a pretty decent distance runner because I was always pretty lean and small, and so and I just really love sports in general. But yeah, cross country and track has always been a big part of my life.
As you were wrapping up your high school career, kind of take me through the process that led you then to coming to Cloud County, both as a student and then as an athlete.
Yeah, so running collegiately is always something I wanted to do. The first time I heard about Cloud was actually from my high school coach. He knew a kid from Grand Island, Nebraska, who came and ran here, and then talking with other college coaches as well. Coach Brady Bonzel from UNK, he gave me a lot when it came to community college. He told me about Colby, Iowa Western, Iowa Central, and Cloud, but he had Cloud really high on his list. He said that was probably one of the better community colleges, and so I started really looking at them. And I remember the first time I actually was about to email Coach Drew, I was really scared because I was like, man, this is a really good program. I don't know if they're even going to really look at me. I was from a small town, and they were, I think, about to win nationals that year, but he answered my email right away and got on a visit, and I mean, loved it ever since.
What was your experience like overall at Cloud, both as a student and as an athlete? Obviously, you had a lot of success, a part of some national championship relay teams from the indoor, outdoor track seasons. What was the time that you spent here at Cloud like for you?
Yeah, no, it was amazing. Academically, it was nice because it was very affordable. I tended to struggle a little bit in high school, but it was really nice that the classrooms were a little bit smaller, and so I could get close with my teachers and instructors. And then, I mean, from a social wise as well. I really loved my roommates and just all my teammates. Like, it was so cool that there were so many people from different countries and all around the country as well, just going out and hang out with people like Awet Baraki and Habtamu Geta and Michael Yali. And those guys were just more than my teammates. They were honestly like my brothers. And so just all the memories I spent with them. And yeah, kind of like what you said about being on those national championship relay teams, the DMR and the 4x8s, like those are obviously like some of the best memories of my life, but nothing will compare to just being friends with those guys and going over to their house and just hanging out with them, playing games, watching football, basketball, soccer, whatever it might be, just spending time with them. But yeah, no, it was just incredible 2.5 years.
Since leaving Cloud, what does the last couple of years look like for you?
Yeah, so after I graduated Cloud, went up to University of Nebraska Kearney. I got involved with a lot of internships. FCA was always something that was really important in my life. I was able to do some really cool things. Going overseas on an FCA internship to Germany and Poland, but then also just once again being at a team atmosphere like University of Nebraska Kearney. There being so many guys, and just in the distance events, and once again getting to know people from. I mean, it was mostly Nebraska kids, but still getting to know people and forming those relationships. And I just had a great time up there. But I also grew a lot as a person, not just as an athlete. I got a little more organized when it came to school, and it was great.
Coaching. You mentioned you come from parents that had a coaching background. Has that long been something of interest to you too? Did you always want to become a coach?
Yeah, so coaching has been in my life. So my grandpa on my mom's side, he was a high school coach, and he coached like almost everything. He coached cross country, football, basketball, track. I think both genders on almost all those sports. And so then, my parents were both track and cross country coaches. My mom coached a little bit of basketball, junior high mostly. So coaching has always been something I wanted to do. My original goal was actually to become a PE teacher and a coach at the high school level. And so once I graduated UNK, I was kind of just still figuring out what I wanted to do for the next year. And then I got the call from Coach Drew saying that I should apply for the job. And so I feel like I was an open door right there to get into coaching.
Why did Cloud County seem like a good fit for you? I mean, do you feel like this is a great place for you to get your start?
Yeah, no, I felt like it was the perfect place because, like I said, I really love the community and the experience I had here. I knew the coaches already pretty well, Coach Ted, Coach Brand, and Coach Drew. They both, especially Coach Drew and Coach Ted, they both made huge impacts on my life, helped me grow not just as an athlete but as a person as well. And with it being a junior college, I knew how the junior college system worked when it came to not completely, but kind of had a good idea about what it took to recruit and to help athletes develop. Because being a part of that developmental stage here at Cloud, I kind of had an idea of what it took to do those things. And I actually, as an athlete, recruiting almost came like natural to me. I would always contact people I knew, whether it be from Nebraska or people I met in Kansas. I would always reach out to them and be like, hey, Cloud is a good program. You should really think about coming here. And so, I just really, really enjoyed my time here. And so I thought it was just the perfect match.
Coach Mahin, I know that when it comes to track and field and for the coaches, you try to find, coaches that can specialize in certain areas, but that's tough to pull off at our level and with JUCOs. And you kind of have somebody that can specialize in something, but also know a little bit about everything, right? So tell me a little bit about why you wanted to target specifically, though, somebody that may have a distance running background, some middle distance background, those sorts of things. Why was that what you felt like was a real coaching need here at Cloud?
Well, in the collegiate setting, it's not just one season for our sport. We typically have, from early August to the middle of May. So you're almost touching on 10 different months of training, planning. If you're a cross-country coach and a distance coach, you're a product of whatever the kids do during the summer. So that takes great communication to get those expectations out, get the training out. But it also takes a lot of relationship building. If you don't have a background in running cross country and running distance and understand the pains, the struggles, the long-term planning, the kind of the faith that you have to have in training and coaches in distance running, there's a lot of unknowns that you're going to run into, and injury risk happen and detours happen in training, but the communication has to be there. So number one, you have to have a great person to lead people and build trust. Then you have to have somebody that's been through some of those ups and downs and different detours in their life. I had a limited experience in cross country in high school, but I was not asked to be a very valuable piece of that team. Also was doing football at the same time. So I wasn't a great person to go walk through the fire that other people had gone through for running 10Ks and 5Ks and 1500s indoors and outdoors, and also the cross country season. So I had a huge growth progression that I needed to make in the first few years to be an effective coach. But I did have backgrounds in other sprint events, hurdle events, other different things that helped me be more valuable on the track. And I feel like I grew through both of those experiences in the unknowns. We needed somebody to be kind of the spokesperson of the distance program, to recruit and be consistently there in training, to be there in every single season, to be the stable person that I probably couldn't be when I was wearing 3 different hats during a full season. Whether I was splitting time, I felt like there was never enough of me to go around to everybody. Everybody's getting 10 to 15% of me versus one group getting 50%, one group getting 70%, that kind of thing. So the stability is huge. Just same thing with the throws. To have safety, to have equipment, to have strength and conditioning, to be able to change those things, you need stability first. So Rylan and that position needed this. We deserve to have those students have a consistent voice for 10 months versus my voice 2 to 3 days a week, and then somebody else's voice 2 to 3 days a week, if that makes sense. So the consistency in that position is what we sought after, and it's a lot of different levels of that.
This is a good jumping off point to jump into this season ahead. And I wanted to ask about how you approach it as we start the 2025 cross-country season, because, again, it's not just about this cross-country season, but the majority of these kids are going to have an indoor season coming up, then an outdoor season. And so when we talk about peaks and wanting to see success, for some of them, that can be so varied and different, where maybe the distance running is their thing and this fall is where they're really going to shine. But for others, you're just trying to get them into a position where they can be successful come January, February, March during the indoor season, or then the outdoor season, by the end of May. So jumping into this with this group of kids, what are those conversations? What is the approach? How do you approach things for the cross-country year?
Yeah, I think the sophomores have a clear understanding of what it's going to take to get to their goals, but also keep in context. Where were you at this time last year in training? Where were you at this last year in injuries, in health, in mental state, in academics, in deciding your future? We can put a lot more pressure on the sophomores because we know them. The freshmen, we're still figuring out some of those questions. Until we race on Saturday, we really don't know what our fruits of our labor are going to be yet. And it builds a great conversation. All right, this happened. Where do we go from here? Some of the freshmen we have high expectations for, and they know that coming in. Others, we're trying to get them to be more realistic. They expect to run a PR every single time they run on the course. So finding out who those people are through practices has been valuable for me and Coach Rye. But the conversations have to have context. Another person, they're probably scared to death of cross country because they haven't ever done this distance before or raced these types of races before. And we're just trying to give them a context that this is a starting point. We change training after this, or this is building you in for indoors or outdoors. There's probably 3 different scenarios within our cross country team currently. This is an impactful season. You're going to go to nationals and set your goals that high because we think you can. And then there's others that we don't know where you're going to end up, but it's exciting because we're going to test you in training of volumes and intensities. And then there's freshmen that have no clue what they're doing, no clue who they are today. We don't know who they are today, that we're going to feel things out and set goals for March, April, May. And really the outdoor season is the most important for me because that means that they've been healthy enough throughout all 3 seasons to compete, to have training, to change things. But we want to still look at the outdoor season as the end all to our season. There's no cross country in the Olympics. There's no indoor track in the Olympics. So we've kind of put Christmas at the end of the year for a lot of these athletes.
Rylan, how has the preseason workouts gone? Student athletes kind of arrive on campus and get started a week before school actually begins. Tell me a little bit about your guys' approach as coaches and the preseason training. What is it that you're trying to accomplish heading into this first meet?
Yeah, so I would say for the most part, it's gone pretty smooth. When all the athletes come in, obviously we got to make sure they get all their paperwork done and everything. And that's something, I did as an athlete, but now as a coach, I kind of get to see the stuff behind the scenes about like, all right, making sure, kids get these, all the stuff they need to get done so they can practice. But yeah, so we're trying to just prepare them for this cross country season. We have a lot of kids who are probably more 400, 800 type runners. So this is kind of their base getting ready for track season. But for some of them that are primary distance runners, a lot of longer distance runners tend to really love cross country. And so we're making sure that they're getting the training they need to get in to be successful for this cross country season. And then even the half marathon that comes up a couple days later after the cross country championships. Some kids might be running in those, but we'll see. We'll probably see how the season goes and based on whether they want to run in that or not. But yeah, we've just been taking the approach just to make sure to keep them healthy and to make sure that they're doing their workouts. We did a pretty decent workout, I'd say, yesterday, just kind of getting them that feel for race pace so that they're not going into the race and they haven't felt that pain or that fast pace yet. So just preparing them to be successful this fall.
Coming in, you can get pretty exposed real quick if they haven't done some off-season stuff even prior to arriving on campus. Did you feel like people came in pretty good shape, though?
Yeah, for the most part, I think there's probably some kids that maybe could have done a little bit more, but obviously that we can do so much as coaches. We can give them the plans to run in the summer, but it's up to them to make sure that they're disciplined to get those done. But I would say for the most part, yeah, they came in pretty decent shape.
Is really difficult until they have context of what it's like to go through the season here. To give them a massive amount of workouts in the summer is sometimes a dangerous slope. They could do way more than they needed to and then put themselves in an injury risk. So that communication's huge. I think you see the freshmen grow in 6-8 weeks really, really quickly. The sophomores, they have a way better understanding of themselves, how they recover, what's going to be good, what's going to be bad, what danger zones are even out there. Some kids are just used to pushing through workouts. Well, that's not the case in college. We have too long of a season to push through and kind of burn red hot, and then you risk injuries and some other things that could happen. I think we have a chance on the guys' side to be at least where we were last year, if not better, in the top 20 type team. I think on the girls' side, our top 3 are probably more consistent than they were last year. We had some sickness to deal with last year and a few injuries, but it's exciting to see them grow into new roles of leadership for the sophomores and see where those freshmen can kind of come in and either ruffle some feathers or try and take somebody's spot. I think that's exciting to have competition within the group. So
both teams return 3 runners from last fall. The women's team finished 9th overall at the 2024 NJCAA Division I Cross Country Championships. The men's team finished 17th overall, which was their highest finish as a team since 2021. And so it's certainly encouraging to hear what you're saying about where those sophomores are.
Yep.
But I know you're pretty excited about the freshman group too.
Yeah, I think what's really cool is seeing even some local kids, whether they're from Abilene, Kansas, and they're trying this distance for the guys' side. Zeb Schultze and Gage Taylor have never ran an 8K in their life. So being able to see them challenge themselves, but their focus is still going to be on the track season for middle distance racing. Nicholas Johnson from Baldwin, he did soccer and cross country at the same time. This is his first time in his life. He's only done cross country training only, and he's handled it well so far. Mackenzie Baker from Washington, Kansas, had like one other girl to train with during her time of high school cross country. So it's just a different scenario for each athlete and how they can grow. Many of them are running near their PRs and practices. It's seeing them be able to connect the dots and do it in a real meet against Division I competition, Division II, elite junior college, elite NAI schools from our area. They get thrown into the fire immediately. So it'd be exciting to see how they do this weekend.
As far as a scheduling standpoint goes, a lot of programs actually got their season started last weekend. Yep. You took the Labor Day weekend off. We'll get your season underway this weekend, and we'll talk about the JK Gold Classic in a minute. But the cross-country season's fairly brief, just 4 regular season meets before you head into the region championships, then the national championships, which this year will be held in Fort Dodge, Iowa, along with the half marathon championships. tell me a little bit about that approach, and from a scheduling standpoint, it's almost every other week. How do you kind of design it? How do you put together the schedule that you want?
Yeah, and in college we do an 8K race, which is 5 miles. We're also doing higher volumes for almost all the guys' races in practices and in the competitions than they were used to in high school. So that big transition is hard to get used to in a few months. You need time. You need the rest periods before. If you're doing a long run every single weekend and you're trying to hit some good mileage markers, your body breaks down fairly quickly when you add more stress and intensity. The races are the most intense, stressful times that we can bring. In training, they're great, but you also need to put a priority on recovery. So that's why we space those out in cross-country season more often. The women could probably race more often, back-to-back weekends, and recover quicker because they're only doing 5Ks, and they have limited amounts of training and volume. And honestly, the girls are sometimes tougher mentally than the guys have to because they're not taking as big of demands in terms of speeds. So every athlete's a little bit different. There's others that need to race every 3 weeks, but that's not necessarily an option at junior college when you're trying to develop them in the fire of racing. Most college programs that are elite will race 2 to 3 times before the regional level at the Division I level. Now, that's a whole different type of training. That's a whole different type of expectation. They're also running 10Ks. We're running 8Ks. The girls are running 6Ks at the Division I level. We're running 5Ks. Having that bridge to develop, I feel like when you race 4 or 5 times in a season, you learn a lot more than just 2 or 3 times at that level. In high school, they're asked to do a lot. They're asked to race sometimes twice in 7 days, 6 days. Sometimes it's horrible weather in the afternoons. We are extremely blessed right now because we're in like the second of 3 weeks of great weather. Most years, early in August, it's so ungodly hot. You're not getting a lot of that out of those races that are at 80, 90 degrees. So we've been lucky to see the weather being our factor for benefit, but in years past, you race earlier, you might not get a lot of benefit out of those experiences.
Rylan, kind of recall for me your days as a student athlete. The preseason, a month of training, not actually competing. Are the kids at this stage, are they just wanting to go compete? Are they excited to finally get to actually race season in that first meet?
Yeah, so back when I was a student athlete, that was during COVID, and so I didn't have a senior season, so that gave me even more time to train. I was training from April all the way to August before we met here for fall camp, and so we were all just super hungry to compete, and that was just kind of devastating for me at the time, not having a senior season, but knowing that I was going to go compete in college. So I just couldn't wait till that first meet. But yeah, I think these kids are also ready to see where they're at. A lot of them, like Coach Drew said, this will be their first 8K, or some of the, especially on the girls' side, having Kenzie from a small town in Kansas. I think she's definitely ready to go because she's looking really good right now, probably more fit than she's ever been. And so I think, these kids are really excited to race this weekend.
Have you had a lot of conversations with them about what to expect? Because, I think about this first meet that's hosted by Wichita State University. You've got a couple of huge meets coming up, one in Lincoln, Nebraska, another one down in Fayetteville, Arkansas, where there's going to be some big-time major collegiate programs there. You think about Wichita this weekend, not only is there the collegiate race, but there's going to be high school races. They even have JV races as far as high school is concerned. So it's going to be a massive amount of people, and I know these kids, they've run in high school, or they've been around even maybe their state cross-country meets, but this is kind of on a whole different level. Have you prepared them a little bit for what they may expect just from an atmosphere standpoint?
Yeah, so a little bit yesterday I was actually talking with them and asked them if they were excited about race week, and I think for a lot of them, they're not putting too much pressure on themselves because they know that this is their first time competing in those situations, but I think a lot of them are kind of just welcoming that not necessarily pressure, but they're welcoming that atmosphere, and they know they're going to be racing against a lot of their friends that are going to other schools. Their families are going to be able to come and watch because down in Wichita, being in Kansas, obviously there will be probably a lot of their families there. But I think they're ready for this atmosphere and just to show what they have.
You really can't prepare for that first race, so coming in with open expectations, willing to learn. They could have a terrible race in the back half of the race and it still be fruitful because they know they can change something. They could not go out so fast and make a mistake early in the race and still finish the race strong, and they know which direction we need to head in training. getting that first Band-Aid ripped off is important because they know then what to correct for the next meet. So having these, oh my gosh, experiences at big levels is important because once you get to regionals, it's more realistic. It's more of an obtainable level of success when we only go to region and only go to nationals versus this pathway that seems so huge, competing against 23-year-olds, 24-year-olds, people that are graduate degree athletes and finishing up their senior years. Former alumni of Cloud that were with us 2 to 3 years ago will still race against these kids this weekend. So it's pretty cool to see. It's just a starting point. Most of our people have a healthy expectation for those races. It's not the end-all, be-all. Christmas is not this weekend where there's no trophies given out for this meet. So
and even in the cross country season, as I said, only 4 regular season meets and the 2 postseason races. But even in that brief amount of time, the drop that you can see in times is so dramatic. And so where they are this weekend, certainly not going to be where they are at the end of October. Heading into the indoor season. So. Is this really about, hey, let's just get out there, get that first meet out of there, get those jitters out of us, actually compete, see if we can finish, and set a baseline for ourselves? Is that what this is?
Definitely. I think it's a period of building confidence. No matter who you are, whether you're an elite athlete or not, if you're not confident in those races, you're probably lost before you even get to the line. Some athletes, they could burn themselves out in the first mile, and other athletes, they are too scared to go out in the paces they need to hit. So this is just a baseline meet that we get to evaluate afterwards. The weather plays a big role in our meets. The training plays a big factor in our meets, but also where you're at in terms of health. If you get sick, you could be ruined for training for the next 10 days. If you have 2 or 3 nights of sleepless nights and some family struggles that you're going through, it will affect the next 10 days. Feeling those waves and those ebbs and flows in training and the long season, we're trying to create stability through stresses. So I think this first meet's exciting, but you got to put it in context of this is where I'm at, but I want to go somewhere from here.
The first meet coming up this weekend as the T-Bird men's and women's cross-country teams head to Wichita, Clap cross-country course, to compete in the 77th annual JK Gold Classic. It begins with the men's race at 8 a.m., followed by the women's race at 8:30 a.m. We'll be sharing information and results and more up at our social media pages or at our Cloud County Community College athletic website at cloudtbirds.com. It's time for our final 4 questions. So I'm going to throw 4 questions at you. I'll let both of you answer. And to begin, as we get past this first meet, what does a typical week of training now look like during the cross-country season? Coach Mahin, I'll let you talk about it.
We start our training weeks a little bit differently than some other programs. If you think that a Sunday is the start of our week with a long run, that's going to be about building a huge base, trying to get them to be able to recover, have good blood flow. Being able to run up to an hour for a lot of these athletes is a huge change from high school. So that's Sunday, long run. Monday, we want to change rhythms, get into something a little bit quicker. So we go down to the football field, and we call them diagonals. It's a chance that they get to run fast and then take a little recovery, jog, fast, recovery, jog. Tuesdays is probably our best workout day of the week, and we're going to either do repeat miles, repeat thousands, or some type of a ladder at race paces or faster for limited amounts of time. Wednesdays, typically a recovery day. Thursday might be a day that we alternate paces or do a progressive run, but it's nowhere near as intense as a race. Fridays, if we don't have a race, we're going to try and kick their butt doing some hard workout. Maybe it's on the huge hill between us and the tech building. Maybe it's with a time trial type feel. And then Saturdays, we have traditionally tried to give them off or doing a long run and then Sunday off. So that's about 6 days a week we're training. And this time of the year, we've been really lucky. We're going in the afternoons a lot. So that typical week asks a lot from them in terms of, are you sleeping every day? Are you eating every day? Are you taking care of yourself so that you can get all the quality we need?
Just a second part to that question, because you said you've been doing afternoons a lot, and obviously the weather has helped you out in that regard. But you race at 8 a.m., 8:30 a.m.
Yep.
Is there much that goes into, like, do we need to be doing morning workouts because, hey, we got to get them in that mindset and prepared to be waking up early and have to get out there and run and compete at 8 a.m.?
Yeah, this is a weird year. Usually we're still at 6 a.m. for like the first 6 weeks of the season. This last 2 weeks we've been really lucky to have the afternoon options. But for the first 3 weeks, we were at 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m., 6 a.m. So hopefully that didn't completely go away from their sleep cycle. If we can get a good night's rest at the hotel and wake up at 6, eat a little bit, be on the road to the course by 6:30 even. That's an early morning for a lot of people, but for cross-country kids, that's pretty typical. They're hopefully used to that time shift and can get their body and mind awake early enough to be able to compete.
Question number 2, I'm going to send to Rylan Cheney. When it comes to the practices that you do, is there a surface or a type of practice that you most look forward to doing with these kids? You know, I know the very first practice, you guys were out on the football field at the high school using the turf and just kind of doing some easy training with them. But obviously you get them out running on the back roads and running on hills and those sorts of things. Is there a surface or a type of training that you most look forward to doing?
So I like when we do whether it be the 1K repeats or the mile repeats, because you can see what times they're hitting. So we have a clipboard, we write down the times and we give them their rest, and we see if that was maybe too slow at the beginning and then they ended really fast, or if they went out too hard and then they kind of died. So we can get a feel about what paces they're going, and maybe if we need to take more rest, or maybe if that was too easy, maybe take a little less rest. So I really look forward to those workouts, and because it gives you a good idea of what paces they can handle and how much rest and how much rest they need, just to see where they're at fitness-wise.
Now, let me ask you question number 3 as well. And I thought it was interesting how you spoke about your time here at Cloud, and you talked about your teammates that come from a very dissimilar background than you, right? You're a small-town Nebraska guy, but you referred to your brothers, and those being some international student athletes, people from countries you probably maybe even never heard of before coming to Cloud and getting to know them. So now as a coach, as you step into this position, and you've got student athletes from varied backgrounds, international, local, whatever it may be, especially in this early part of the season, we've talked about the training and physically get them to a point where they can compete. What's team bonding look like, and how do you try to bring together kids from Leonardville, Kansas and Washington, Kansas with those from other countries? Tell me about what that looks like, and how special do you feel like that can be for them as teammates to get to know each other and enjoy this time together?
So outside of practices, we try to do team breakfasts. So Coach Drew does a good job of inviting the team over, and he makes food, and we kind of have some bonding time, eating together, talking, laughing together, maybe even doing activities together. Like the first week, we went over to the courts outside of Thunder Heights and played basketball, soccer, pickleball, whatever. Some people just sat in chairs and talked. And so I think those moments are really valuable, because you get to know people from different cultures, from different backgrounds here, maybe what their family is like, and just get to know them on a personal level more than just running. I think that can really help out in the future, because in case, you go on to maybe work with people who are from a different culture, different background, and you can learn from them, and it helps you grow as a person. Just at the end of the day, I mean, we're all people no matter where we're from. And so I think, those times are just really valuable, those team bonding moments.
We are kind of spoiled here at Cloud, and we don't even think about it. But if you're at a Emporia State, Fort Hays, wherever, like, there's so many students, and they're all spread out to different apartments, different buildings, different on-campus, off-campus situations. We are such a small community. We see everybody in 5 different ways during their day, whether it's in a meal setting, in a class, study hall, training room, at practice, out of practice. And our dorms do such a good job of making sure that they're active and interactive with all different groups of people on this campus. So we take that for granted sometimes. Our culture within our campus probably does a lot of our team building for us, because they see each other and they're there to notice things about each other. I noticed this with different teams in different years. The more silent we are in the van, the worse team we are. The more loud, annoying, joking, the more they can rib at each other and start to give each other crap in the first week, you have a group that can grow. You have a group that can communicate, whether it's good times or bad times, and they give each other crap for making a mistake, or they can yell at a teammate for being late. If they can communicate on those levels, I feel like all the opportunities to grow exist. So it's exciting to see this group of guys has already kind of gelled together really quickly. The girls don't talk as much, but they're getting better each week, which is always fun to see. You never know how those relationships will evolve throughout the season, but it's encouraging right now with so many new people.
Last question, Drew. I'll set this one up for you. Coming into the year, the women's team preseason ranked number 20 in the preseason national coaches poll. The men's team, number 23. Both, though, coming off top 20 finishes, including a top 10 finish for the women's team last year. What are the goals this year?
I think last year's girls team, we were probably in a worse situation. The rankings don't really mean a lot. There's some coaches that are inflated and love to think about possibilities. There's other coaches that don't answer those things truthfully at all, and they want their teams to be not ranked and have to earn it. Within our region, if we don't finish in the top 3 in the women's side, I think then we miss some good opportunities to grow, or maybe we had some injuries. But I really do believe we should be a top 3 contender for another region type trophy situation on the women's side. The men's side is a little more difficult. I think there's just some more loaded teams that are ready to compete at that level, and we might be missing 1 or 2 pieces. Now those athletes might develop, but I think another top 5 finish in our region is probably the goal that the men should be realistically setting. We could scare ourselves and move right up to number 3 or 4, but it's going to have the right pieces in place. You got some heavy hitters within the men's team. Butler's back with a lot of the same group. Hutch is back with a lot of the same group. And then you have some major changes with other coaches and new roles and new positions within the region. So there's always some turnover that happens, but who can ride that storm is really important. The guys, I think, as a whole, are probably going to be more consistent and a little bit better through our top 5 this year than they were last year. So I have high expectations for this group, but they're still realistic. I don't think that they're asking too much to be in those positions. So
the season gets underway this Saturday at the JK Gold Classic. I want to wish you both the best of luck on the season ahead. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you a Kansas or Nebraska high school senior who's thinking about your next step after high school? If so, you qualify for Cloud County Community College's $500 early bird scholarship. All you have to do is visit campus before December 19th and have a GPA of 3.0 or higher, and you get a $500 scholarship guaranteed. So come visit Cloud and see why our students are Cloud proud. On your visit, you'll see our campus, meet with an academic advisor, and get a chance to have all your questions answered. Set up your campus visit today by giving us a call at 785-243-1435 extension 212 or visiting us online at cloud.edu/admissions.
My thanks to Cloud County Community College Director of Cross Country and Track and Field, Drew Mahin, and Assistant Cross Country and Track and Field Coach, Rylan Cheney, for being our guests this week on T-Bird Talk. And want to wish all the best to the Cloud County Community College men's and women's cross country teams as they open their 2025 season this weekend at the 77th Annual JK Gold Classic in Wichita. The men's race will begin at 8 a.m., followed by the women's race at 8:30 a.m. And again, fans can follow the race results from the JK Gold Classic by visiting cloudtbirds.com or by following any of Cloud County's athletic department social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and X. This weekend, the Cloud County Community College volleyball team will open Kansas Jayhawk Community College conference play as the T-Birds head to Colby to match up with the number 6th ranked team in the country, the Colby Trojans. Cloud County currently sits at 4-7 on the year after they fell in 5 sets on Monday, losing to Neosho County Community College. The T-Birds dropped the first set 20-25, but regrouped to win the next 2 sets, winning 25-19, 25-22. After falling in the 4th set, 17-25, the 2 teams battled throughout the 5th set, but it was the Neosho County Panthers coming out on top, picking up their 5th win of the season as they handed the T-Birds the 5-set loss. Sophomore outside hitter Grace Rowland was the lone T-Bird with double-digit kills. Rowland led the way with a career-high 23 kills on a .305 attack percentage to go with a career-high 25 digs and 4 blocks. The match marked Rowland's 4th match in her career with 20 or more kills. Sophomore Carly Colgren and freshman Zoe Sudbeck followed with 8 kills apiece. Freshmen Kennedy Casanova and Elizabeth Schuster were close behind with 6 kills each. Sudbeck and Schuster joined Rowland in collecting 4 blocks each. Freshman setter Brooke Lougheed served up a team-high 38 assists to go along with 20 digs. Defensively, sophomore libero Beatrice Giusti had 24 digs. Kennedy Casanova and redshirt freshman Addison Ogle added 10 digs each. The T-Birds open conference play this weekend at Colby. First serve is scheduled for 2 p.m. from the Colby Event Center. Next week on T-Bird Talk, we'll be talking a lot more about Cloud County Community College volleyball. We'll also have an opportunity to visit with 2 members of the T-Bird volleyball team. New episodes of T-Bird Talk drop each Thursday, so make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. T-Bird Talk is a production of the Cloud County Community College Athletic Department.